If you guys listen to the show or read the newsletter, you know that my all-time favorite group, the Heartbeats, my all-time favorite song, and it's tied, I got to admit that, it's 1,000 Miles Away, and In the Still of the Night by the great Fred Paris and the Five Satins. Well, I am thrilled today to be able to talk to one of the original members of the Heartbeat, Vernon Sievers, out of Woodrow Wilson High School in the Queens. Buddy, it's great to talk to you. Take me back to the early days when the Heartbeats were starting.
Well, the Heartbeats started before I graduated from high school. There are actually two original Heartbeats living. Myself and a fellow named Robert Tatum, who was the second tenor, that although he does not want to perform anymore, he's kind of a guy to himself, but he was extremely intricate in forming the Heartbeat sound. And I officially named him the brains of the Heartbeat harmony.
How did it all come together? Who put it together and who was the leading force?
Well, I believe that the moving and most positive force was Robert Tatum, because we lived in a little town in Jamaica, Queens, called Springfield Gardens, and I lived right across the street. He lived down the block, but I lived right across the street. But one of the things that stuck out with Robert and my friendship with Robert is that he loved music. However, he was forced to take piano lessons, and he really didn't like being forced to take piano lessons from his mother, but he did. But he was a guy who had a great memory, and he remembered chord structures and whatnot. So that was one of the foundations that I got intrigued with Robbie, just being around him on a daily basis.
And back then, who was in the group? What was the makeup of the group then?
Well, actually, that was really before the group was really formed. But that was my involvement. But shortly after that, from just playing around with the piano, and we used to get a kick out of just playing in his sun parlor. We used to harmonize together, and there was some other guys moving right along. When I went to high school, to Woodrow Wilson Vocational High School, and before I went there, with Robbie, we worked with my cousin Eddie and whatnot. And the bottom line is, when I went to high school, Robbie said, "Hey Vernon, you know one thing? When you go to school, to high school, you ought to see if you can get some very good singers," because he was a bug on not just being able to sing, but someone who had passion to sing. Mm-hmm. So he gave me he gave me the job of finding two other people in high school that I would that I felt that was good enough to be a member of a group that we were going to form. So that actually was and when I went to high school to move it right along, I'm laughing as I'm talking about this, because my method of finding out if you could sing, with, like, in a place where there was echo. When I used to go into the city, we used to practice singing in the subway, where it gave off this echo. So what I did to interview these guys, I would take them in the bathroom, and sing in the bathroom. And the bathroom had this little echo and whatnot. And the bottom line is, I found the tenor of the Heartbeats, a guy by the name of Albert Crump, and I also found Wally Roker, who was also going to Woodrow Wilson High School, and that was basically the beginning of the Heartbeats, because myself, we had Wally Roker, we had Al Crump, okay, and that was really the core.
When did Sheppard come in? When did Shane come in?
Well, the bottom line is that Shep actually was brought in by Wally Roker, because we had fun. Myself, Robert Tatum, Albert Crump, and Wally Roker, we were the four of us. And we had songs that we were working on, but we really liked harmony. We really liked the harmony, and it was the four of us. And was Wally Roker who said, you know something? We ought to see if we can get a good lead singer, so that to take care of the lead, and then we could work our harmonies in the back. And basically that was the formation of the Heartbeats, because Wally Roker found Shep singing in a park, and he said, "Hey, I'd like you to do a little audition in our group." And he brought him to actually my mother's house, and Shep came, and he started singing, and it was just instant attraction, just listening to him sing.
I'm not sure I've ever heard a voice as pure and as beautiful as Shep's.
Well, that was one of his qualities. He could sing, but he also wanted to sing songs with a purpose. And he was a kind of like a romantic guy. He had a lot of girlfriends, and he got involved with a lot of girlfriends. But he also had another habit. He always kept a pen and a paper. And when he got involved with other women and whatnot, he would always try to find something unique about that relationship, and he would write it down in his book. And he would use that as a key to some of his songs. So when he would sing, he would always say, 1,000 miles away. He would, and a lot of that came from his relationships and him writing down things that were important to him out of the people that he met.
Was he younger than you guys? Was he?
No, he was actually older. He was older. I think he was at one time. Yeah, he was the oldest. He was the oldest member of the Heartbeats.
Okay. By the way, we are at a high school up on Long Island for doo-wop weekend, and we're in the hallway, and they're trying to clean up a little bit. So that's what you're hearing in the background. Every now and then you may hear the toilet flush. So because we're looking for an echo in this interview, and maybe that's appropriate, isn't it?
That is appropriate.
Yeah. Anyway, we're talking to Vernon Sievers, one of the original members of the Heartbeats. Shep was so talented, but he was also so troubled as his life went on. What do you remember about how it all fell apart?
Oh, that's a very easy question to answer. Shep, the only little problem that he had was that he liked to drink. He used to drink Mr. Boston gin. And he'd keep these little pint bottles, and he would drink, and he felt that it really gave him inspiration. That was something that he got, that he really got a real habit with. And it was all right when he had a little bit of it, okay? But then as he drank more and more, the demons, whatever demons that he had in him, came to the fore, and he got nasty, okay? And so, but he did this for many years, and he was a nice guy. He was a lovable guy, but drinking the Mr. Boston to somewhat of an excess really worked against them. And so that was the worst thing about it. And basically, I think that was really what was his undoing, because subsequently the Heartbeats were formed, and he worked with the Heartbeats for years and years, and then he left the Heartbeats, and he formed the Limelights. Mm-hmm. And when he formed the Limelights, his drinking really got way out of control. Now, before he left the Heartbeats, we had some tensions with Shep, and we did not want to work with him because we did some sing-outs, and him drinking the Mr. Boston, he used to get so ossified that he couldn't hardly sing. He would flop out, and we didn't want to have anything more to do with singing with this type of thing that was going on. So in some kind of way, that was part of the reason why the Heartbeats broke up. Shep went his own way. We were getting married. We were getting children. And we had to support our families, so we actually all went to work in our trades or whatever talents we had to do something in excess of the Heartbeats, because the Heartbeats were great, but we really didn't make a lot of money. A lot of people think, oh, you were in show business and we made a lot of money, and even though we had hit records, really the promoters and the record guys really made the bulk of the money.
Sure.
Okay, and also we were kids, and hey, it was just one of those things. So it came a time that we had to break up. Shep went his way. He formed the Limelights, and each of us got our own individual jobs.
Was he the inspiration for the Five Heartbeats movie where they passed out at the mic and all
Well,
that?
actually, not. The one problem with the Heartbeats is that our name was never incorporated, okay? They would stay away from the Heartbeats. That movie, okay, the title of it was The Five Heartbeats, okay? And in that movie, the Heartbeats that I know about was very annoyed at that, because in that movie it was about drug addicts. There was a lot of drugs, which unfortunately, that was something that was bestowed on black entertainers a lot, and that was kind of pushed through. That really had nothing to do with us, because the four of us, myself, Robert Tatum, Wally Roker, we did not drink, we did not get ossified, and that was the fact. But in the Five Heartbeat movie, that was one of the strong parts about that movie, and the part that we disliked, because basically even our name was attached to it. And one of the worst things that you could say to the Heartbeats was, hey, that movie, The Five Heartbeats, that was about you guys. Which one of them were you? That was a real turnoff.
And the sad thing is that the music in that was terrific, and it was the music that we like and that we associate with the Heartbeats. But to sell a movie, to sell something, sometimes you got to put that stuff in. It's a shame that it did what it did.
That statement is right on the money, and I can't disagree with that. But my side of it is the personal story about the Heartbeats and the relation with the Five Heartbeats.
And the sad thing is the way Shep's life ended. Coming out of a bar and getting killed and getting robbed and left with no clothes on the side of the road, and I guess on an expressway, and they froze to death.
That's exactly. And of course I wasn't there, but I did have a relationship with the Limelights, and of course he was basically a limelight when that situation happened, and it was told to me that he was in a bar, he got to drinking, and when he got to drinking, the demons came out. He started flaunting, I guess, whatever money he had, he was flaunting, and he left, and apparently some guys or whatever followed him out, and like I said, he was found on the expressway, frozen to death, and he was killed.
Sad.
Yeah.
I read something in my research about, and we're talking to Vernon Sievers, the original member of the Heartbeats, about Morris Levy. Do you remember what happened with all that with Morris Levy?
I remember vaguely, but I really am not in a position to talk about it because I don't remember really that much about it. I know Morris Levy in the part that he played, but I really can't expound on him because I don't really know that.
I understand, but he was a tyrant. We all know that with many groups, just a lot of different
Oh,
groups.
yes, yeah.
You guys broke up, went your separate ways for the reasons that you mentioned earlier, just having families and this and that. But then you get back together. I think it was Ronnie. Did Ronnie I bring you back together at UGA?
Ronnie I, now that, when you mention Ronnie I, he almost brings tears to my eyes because he was really, well, first of all, selfishly, he presented himself as a guy who really loved the Heartbeats. The Heartbeats was his favorite group. He loved the Heartbeats and what he did. And he was a very sincere guy. And to be honest with you, I love that man. But the bottom line is that he was instrumental in getting us together, okay? There was a PBS show that he had something to do with. But in addition to that, he was running shows himself on a small basis, and he convinced us, hey, come in and I want to bring you guys back. And so yes, Ronnie I can you can say that Ronnie I was really instrumental in bringing the Heartbeats back at a later stage.
You graduated from high school in the mid-50s, 54, 55, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
And here we are now in, 2019. And look at the crowd we've had here for the last 2 days. Are you amazed that you're still singing this stuff and that the people are responding like they do?
Well, yes, 100% yes, because really, the crowds that we're pulling to see this music happen, to listen to it and whatnot, are larger than the crowds when we were singing, when the records were hot, when the records were put out. So in a lot of respects, there's more appreciation. I feel more appreciation. We have more involvement with our audience now than we've ever had in our whole lives as being so-called rock and roll performers.
Yeah, as we were standing out in the lobby waiting to come back here to do this, the people that come up and the memories, and you can tell by looking at them that, that's my favorite group. That's my favorite song, 500 miles to go, 1,000 miles to away. I mean, it's just, that's what it's all about.
And all of the other songs, other than what the Heartbeats say, there is a real people are really involved. They come out in very large numbers, and it's just a wonderful thing to witness at this stage of my involvement with this music.
How often do you sing anymore? How often do the Heartbeats get together, and how often do you want to continue to do it?
Well, one of the things that I see, I'm getting older, I really feel good. Right now, I mean, I'm 81 years old.
Wow.
Yeah, and I'm really enjoying. I have a very, very good life. I have a wonderful family, a wonderful wife and children. And
where's home for you?
Our home is in Sarasota, Florida.
Ah.
Yeah, and I've been there for 21 years now. And I love the heat. So I love the weather. My routine is I get up 5 days a week and I ride my bike 20 miles, and so I try and keep myself in shape. But right now, I have the energy to practice with the current Heartbeats and enjoy. And coming out and just being surrounded by wonderful people that come to listen and hear the music and be appreciative of what you're doing is a real gas. So this is a wonderful time in my life as far as my enjoyment from stem to stern.
Well, you deserve it. You created some incredible memories, the Heartbeats did, over the years. And as I said at the outset of the show, it's my all-time favorite group. The music you guys put out, the harmony was just terrific. I thank you for spending the time with us here on Do Up Ramblings, and I look forward to spending some time with you in the future.
Thanks so much for having me.